I'm Duth, Olec, and this is my novel. Oh, maybe that's Phonet. And there are 3 people here. Yes, there are 3 people here, 3 people there. The people who are here right now know who I am, so I'm probably going to just sort of say I'm Duth, Olec, and this is my novel that I released today on using Create Space, and it's on Amazon today, and it's my novel that I wrote. And its name's Slubes, called Slubes. My name's Duth, Olec, and I have a wizard hat. So I'm just gonna start by reading the back. Slubes, Book 1 of the Naughtal Crystal story, Duth, Olec, by Duth, Olec. A Cloudy Cuckoo Cosmos novel, Number 1, Novel 1. A threat from above, a threat from below, and the only ones who know are nervous, careless, and, well, one is competent. The planet Mintop is on the verge of invasion. 3 Slubes, distant relatives to the banana slug, find that intergalactic conquerors after a crystal of immense power in their town. According to legend, the crystal is in place to seal an ancient demon underground, so when it shatters, a race begins. The 3 Slubes must rebuild the crystal before the demon seal is broken. The Space Invader isn't about to lose such a powerful artifact, though, and aims to stop their collectathon. Numer, the happenstance hero with a nervous disposition, Professor Duth, the well-meaning but careless inventor, and Cherry, the karate-tailed competent one. These 3 semi-heroes must overcome the Conqueror's obstacles if they are to save their planet from intergalactic invasion and demonic destruction. The debut novel of Duth, Olec, and perplexed narrator Warlyte, chronicling tales of the Cloudy Cuckoo Cosmos, and the first of 2 novels in a Naughtal Crystal series. The critics disagree. Definitely a novel. Not at all 1,000 raisins being shoved into your nose. So funny you'll choke on eggs. It happened to me once. Tastes like banana without the annoying vitamin B and potassium. Fiberstone paperback version. Okay. Now I will just sort of hum while I wait for the thing to catch up. Okay, I'm done humming. It's not caught up, but I'm gonna move on to a note from an author. Let me know if I'm being too quiet, though, because that's basically the biggest obstacle, even more than the thing. Good day, readers. My name is Warlyte. Well, not my name, but his name. I suppose I probably shouldn't just interrupt this with my own talking nonsense every time, shouldn't I? Let me start over. Good day, readers. My name is Warlyte. I suppose you could call me the writer of this work. Duth, Olec prefers to call me the court stenographer, but even simply stenographer would not be wholly accurate. I guess I'm somewhere between a reporter and a writer. Duth is the creator and the presenter. It is our combined efforts that bring this story to you, and any problems you have with it are Wally's fault. Hey, no, you said you wouldn't interfere on his first outing. Well, we haven't outed yet, have we? I just want everybody to know that it's all Wally's fault. Stop that. Well, I'll make you do this on your own. Alright. Go ahead. I'll get things started. Getting a drink. Having a bad back. Okay, I'm going to be reading from about, I want to say 10 pages maybe, in various groups. I'm just going to stop when there's a paragraph break. So let's start. After the first few pages, if there's no one new here, well, you can ask me questions. You can wait, I did the stress wrong. You can ask me questions if you want. I don't know what I would ask that you answer that you haven't. Blah, blah, blah. Emptiness. All was emptiness. As far as the eye could see, emptiness. From the spot he stood at the edge of the horizon, completely flat. The sky, white, as if whiteout had spilled all over it. Still, it wasn't completely boring. The floor, which looked like stiff cardboard, had a nice checkered pattern. Okay, it was an ugly checkered pattern, a pale brown alternating light and dark, but at least it was different. Either way, the fellow standing there hadn't the time to think about the floor pattern. His name was Numer. He was a sloob, an upright banana-slug creature with bright yellow skin. Numer's big, round eyes, resting on his head, scanned the horizon. Nothing had changed. His mouth quivered, extending out like two baguettes. The top one gave the appearance of a nose. He was clad in white, starting from his neck to the ground where his body became his tail. The sleeves went down to his hands. Numer knew what was really going on. He knew that he was nothing more than a pawn in this game. An insignificant pawn, only there to be used by his superiors. Numer began shaking. These thoughts always made him nervous. He and the others were just fodder there. He had seen it happen to the other 7 pawns. He was now the only one left. Soon he, too, would take the fall for one or the other. The pawn realized something was now racing across the horizon. Before he could tell what it was, it changed direction. Now it was charging straight for him. It was a knight, an armored sloob riding a muscular, floating beast known as a herf. It was a majestic, though legless creature, with a body similar to that of a horse, but the blubbery tail, fins, and head of a carp. Okay, so it wasn't majestic. It floundered about as it swam through the air, zigzagging like it was dancing drunk on a Friday night after a long day of hard work. The knight atop the herf prodded it constantly with his spurs to right the creature's path. The knight's black armor told Numer that he was from the opposing army. Numer lifted his round hand in an offensive stance. He wasn't going down without a fight. That is, he wasn't going down without cowering first. Numer turned around with eyes shut tight and covered his head with his hands. The knight was coming too fast. He couldn't stand up to one. He was certainly a goner. The herf cried out with a blubbery neigh, interrupting Numer's thoughts. Turning around, he saw the enemy knight collapsed on the floor and the herf wobbling about. Numer's eyes lit up. He saw the most beautiful, glorious sight he'd seen since being dumped there. The queen, Cherry. She was an angel come from above to smite Numer's assailant. Like Numer, she was dressed in white, but she also wore a white crown atop her head. Numer thought she must have slammed into the herf with her tail, which sloobs normally use to push themselves forward. The force must have sent the herf reeling and the knight crashing to the floor. The knight and herf shattered into tiny pieces. Cherry turned to Numer and asked, "You're the last remaining pawn, right?" Numer stammered nonsense, unable to assemble his thoughts before Her Majesty. Finally, he got out a feeble, "Yes." Cherry grabbed his hand, it was wet, and began to drag him away. His heart raced and he almost went limp. "Then come with me. We're making you into another queen." "Me? A queen? But I wouldn't be good for a position of power. I'm not up to that task. I'm not even a but... They screamed. The world around them jerked up. The tile they were on had dropped open into a pit. They plummeted until the universe stopped existing. When it again existed, they found themselves on an orange rectangle. Instead of a checkerboard, they could see a line of rectangles, 4 lines making a square with a large field in the center. "Where are we?" Numer asked. Ahead of them, several vehicles were parked. Cherry read a sign on an orange rectangle. "It looks like we're at New York Avenue." "I've never heard of it," Numer said. "Well, howdy there." The 2 sloobs turned and saw what appeared to be a thimble. It was their height, made of pewter, and wore a pewter top hat. "I see you've landed on my space." "Your space?" Numer asked, somehow not unnerved. He was talking to a giant thimble. "Yep, I own it. And you see that building there?" Excuse me. Next to the field stood a red hotel made of plastic. It was no taller than Numer. "That's my hotel. For landing on my space, you owe me $1,000. "We what? What, just because we fell here?" Cherry asked. "That's the rules of the game," the top hat-wearing thimble said. "Pay up." "But we don't have any money. We don't even have an economy where we're from," Numer said. "Well, you'll have to raise the money somehow. Until you do, I'll be taking her as collateral." A monster-sized, pewter-furred Scottish terrier emerged from the field like a pewter demon from pewter Hades. Everything's pewter here, except for the hotels. The dog, towering over everything, let out a piercing howl. Cherry screamed as it grabbed her with its monstrous jaw. The thimble hopped up onto the dog and it ran into the horizon. "Wait, come back here!" Numer yelled. He began to chase after them, though he knew there was nothing he could do. A police siren blared and Numer halted. To his left, a large, opaque cumulus cloud was in the sky flashing blue and red lights. It flew across the board and landed nearby. A hole opened up and an identical but smaller cloud flew out, accompanied by it with a blue game piece shaped like a chess pawn. "There he is, officer," said the blue game piece in an elderly woman's voice. "Are you sure he's a culprit?" asked the cloud. "I'm positive. The murderer was none other than Numer in New York Avenue with the bologna sandwich." "What?" "Okay, I'm going to stop now. You should have figured out this is a dream 8 pages ago. The thing goes on and on and on. We can't spend pages on something that's not really happening." "Sure we can. This dream is full of symbolism and character expo development and fun stuff like that." "It's nonsense. It's board game nonsense. Nobody wants to read about ridiculous dreams for 20 pages. Then they can read us arguing for 20 pages. Not that either. Alright. Let's move on." Well, okay. That's the first 3 pages. Another drink and... Anyone want to ask me anything? It's also supposed to have a Q&A, but clearly there's not going to be much Q's until there's no one with A's. Just let me catch my breath and stretch a little bit. When you're reading out loud, it can feel much... You mean the story, or how long, or the story feels longer, or the time feels longer? Yes, both probably qualify. Although I've read this aloud twice now. I've been practicing. That's kind of why I was able to just sort of memorize the end of this and just stare at the camera. Well, I'm going to move on to the next page and a half, so you can think about if you want to ask anything. Because people might see this after it's on YouTube. Hi, people on YouTube, and they might have questions, and I should probably have just sort of came up with some basic questions to answer myself with. Anyway. In reality, Numer was asleep in his bed. A clock next to him read noon. A 23-year-old sloob, and sleeping past noon was his regular schedule. I just realized I'm 23 when this is being published. I wrote this when I was 20, so it's just sort of a coincidence that the main character is my age. How amusing. This hard over. In reality, Numer was asleep in his bed. I'm going to keep interrupting myself, and I'll never get through this. Anyway, in reality, Numer was asleep on his in his bed. A clock next to him read noon. A 23-year-old sloob, and sleeping past noon was his regular schedule. Not a lot of gusto, this guy, huh? Little did he know this would be his redoing, or something like that. Numer's house, a one-bedroom home with a mattress and a chair, was located in the town of Noddle. Noddle was a small, peaceful town of about 50, its buildings wooden and its land grassy. Houses lined the edge of town. A tropical breeze, sweet smells, brisk air. Ocean surrounded it on all sides but east. In the southern part of Noddle was a farmer's market, called so even without an economy. People were exchanging fruit, chatting, and generally hanging around. 3 sloobs were walking, or rather, their tails were pushing them forward, but let's stop splitting hairs, through the market to meet up with one another. "Paige, Gurn, over here," the red-clothed sloob called out. Paige and Gurn saw their friend sitting at a table outside the Apple Shack Cafe, waving to them. They walked tail push till you get the picture over to her. "Hi, Cherry," they greeted, sitting down. "What's the news from our inside girl?" Gurn asked, while my computer starts to go into sleep mode and I stop it. Sorry about that. Hi, Cherry, they greeted, sitting down. What's the news from our inside girl? Gurn asked. Cherry rolled her eyes. Not much. It's not like anything ever happens around here, you know. The last time you said nothing was going on, taxes were raised the next day, Paige said. We don't have taxes, Paige, Gurn pointed out. We don't even have an economy. Yeah, but we were told we would need a higher rate of farming produced, Paige recalled. Well, there is only one farmer for the whole town, Cherry said. We're lucky not a lot of people come to live here. And some people even leave to go live in the next town, Paige said. I can't blame them. Did I tell you? Last time I visited, I saw this beautiful necklace, and I'm telling you, it is almost enough to make me wish we did have an economy. Enough to make you start working to make stuff you could trade for it? Gurn asked. And give up this easy lifestyle? Paige asked, and they laughed. As they continued their conversation, Cherry looked up into the sky, blue and clear with but a single cloud. Suddenly the sky flashed, like a sheet of lightning radiating out from above the town. Hey, Cherry said, interrupting Paige and Gurn. What's that? They looked up. The sky flashed again, repeating at a quicker pace. The flashing intensified. Light from the sun distorted. The rest of the town took notice, looking up at the phenomenon. They were unsure of what to make for it. A giant crackling pillar appeared like a second sun shooting down towards Noddle. It was falling towards the very center of town. There sat a pear-shaped, crystalline gem the size of a slube. The pillar's light shined off the dark gray gem in a rainbow of colors. With a deafening boom, the pillar slammed into the crystal. A shattering, reverberating screech like high-pitched thunder flooded Noddle. The townspeople went into a panic. They were under attack. The pillar was like a vacuum, pulling things toward it. Everyone fled for their homes, trying not to get pulled in, their screams drowned out by the screech. The crystal was ripped up from the ground it was in and drawn into the pillar. The surrounding soil broke up as it was also pulled up. By now, the entire market, all of Noddle, seemed empty as a ghost town. Everyone had hidden in their homes as the crystal was lifted up into the sky. Didn't actually go into sleep mode. The monitor sort of darkened, which means it's halfway to sleep mode. But I'm going to assume loading mode is added and not... The stream's going to mess up, oh no. Because the stream actually did mess up 4 days ago, I think, when I tested this. Phone net will remember. Also known as Hulk, I think was her name. Well, it's person. That's not PB or Phil Warlyte. And I'm just saying this for the people who might be watching it later. Hello, people in the future. Do we have electric cars available widely yet? I think I was going to say hover cars, but then I forgot what hover is. Anyway, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. I don't think you guys have anything to ask yet. Although... yeah, I'm gonna... Oh no, hey, there's a fourth viewer. But, I'm going to, wait until there's, either wait until there's more people here before I start, yakking about the book and not the actual reading from it. Unless there's no one actually ever, shows up. In which case, I'll just do that at the end. Maybe I will move the computer over and show the... Yeah, I don't think that would really work for... I don't know. I haven't ever tried recording the computer from the webcam, which is kind of sad because then... Yeah, okay, I'm going to end this by recording the computer so that I will be recording... So I'll be recording the stream. I'll be recording what the webcam's seeing by the webcam. So the webcam will be recording what the webcam's recording. It's going to be one of those weird infinite portal things. Anyway. High above the planet Mintop, at the origin of the pillar that had just hit Noddle, a space station, bigger than Noddle and made of several spheres, orbited the planet. Touchdown. You've gotten hold of the crystal. Bringing it up now. Inside the space station were octopus-like, squid-like Spleech. They had tall, thin heads with similarly elongated eyes and a layer of flappy cap-like skin. Their bodies were puny, but had 4 long tentacles. A line of small holes around the base of their necks were used for speaking. Most were hard at work on computers, typing in commands, taking notes, and monitoring the planet below. Keep it steady. This far from the surface, the slightest disruption could break the contact. One figure in the room towered over all others at 4 times their height. Their commander, the owner of the space station, a fierce presence throughout the galaxy, the Conqueror. It shouldn't be too hard to tell what he does. The Conqueror, thousands of years old, was like the Spleech, a gray cephalopod. He had much longer tentacles and a round, bulbous head bigger than a whole Spleech, with 2 glaring, teardrop-shaped eyes. The back half of his head was replaced with a glass case, inside of which his enormous, pulsing brain could be seen. A Spleech holding a clipboard walked up to the Conqueror. "Everything is running smoothly, sir," it said. Reading from the clipboard, it continued, "We're getting new data about the crystal, and it is unlike anything I has ever..." The Conqueror snatched the clipboard and looked at the data. He was flabbergasted. The readings were enormous. It outpowered any machine or source of energy they had encountered before. And yet their data showed this planet was just 3/4 to being a Type 1 civilization. The power output of the crystal is 3-fold this planet's energy consumption. What have the calculations shown? How much of the fleet could be powered with this? The entire fleet 5 times over. "Outstanding!" the Conqueror exclaimed, laughing as he spoke. I was supposed to laugh during that. "This invasion will be a snap. We won't have to look for any more sources until after the invasion is complete. This planet won't know what hit them until it's too late, and they will know full well what hit them. The force of the Conqueror! Hail the Conqueror!" the Spleech shouted. Is that louder? I kind of noticed I was getting quiet, and then I said, I'm getting quiet! Let's see. Next I have a couple more pages. Then 2.5 pages. Got 4.5 pages left. Hey, I'm more than halfway through. Hello, woolly chicken. I'm reading from a novel. My novel, Slubes. I'm Duth Olec. This is a wizard hat. This is a Yoshi. But the main point thing is, this is a novel, and I wrote it, and it's available, and it's been self-published, and it's a novel, and it's Slubes. And it's Kadi Kluku Cosmos, because I'm Duth Olec. Well, at least I'm about halfway. I'm gonna read the... Well, I don't know. Does Woolly Chicken want me to read the back cover? Does anyone know who Woolly Chicken is? In the meantime, I'm going to... I was going to think about reading the footnotes, but... Problem is reading... Originally I was going to read the footnotes as they show up, but then I realized that sort of breaks the sentence, which normally when you read it, you can go back and read it again. Anyway, I'm going to just keep on reading. Numer gasped and opened his eyes. He saw a ceiling. It had just been a bad dream. Numer tried to get out of bed. Still in a daze, he fell onto the carpeted floor with the sheets caught around him. He checked his clock. Nearly an hour after noon. A little early, he thought, but oh well. He pulled himself out of the sheets and put on his regular blue shirt. When Numer opened his front door, an empty and silent Noddle greeted him. He immediately felt something was wrong. Nobody was around. Had everyone else slept in like him? No, that idea was a load of baloney. There had to be people up by this time. He was the latest sleeper he knew. Instead, it looked more like Noddle had been frozen. The sky was gray, but there was only one cloud. There was no wind, but the grass looked windblown. Numer crept through the town searching for anybody. If anyone was around, they would be in the market, but it too was empty. "Hello? Is anyone around?" he called out. The apple shack's windows were open. In fact, the sign read open, but there was no one behind the counter. It felt like everyone had been zapped out of existence. This idea spooked Numer. He was getting out of there. But out of where? The town was still empty. Numer kept looking for someone, anyone, his pace quickening. He could hear his breathing. He could hear his tail rub against the ground. Every so often he stopped. Was that him? Was that someone else? Is someone there? He couldn't take the silence anymore. Finally he shouted, "No one's around! Where is everybody?" The silence shattered like glass, but almost immediately put itself back together. Then it broke again. "Why, over here." "Huh? What?" Numer spun around, looking for the source of the voice. He saw someone standing near the center of town and hurried over. It was a lone Slube. "Oh, hello there. How do you do? My name is Professor Duth." The strange Slube introduced himself, shaking Numer's hand with both of his hands. He looked to be in his early 30s, clothed in teal and wearing thick, foggy glasses. This professor didn't seem like the type of person who would be out while the town was empty, and yet he seemed exactly like the type of person who would investigate such a sudden occurrence. Not bold, like an officer detective, and yet so interested in things that how could he keep away? Hi, I'm Numer," he uncertainly greeted this Slube. Uncertain, anxious, and every bit as confused as before. The town was empty save him and his Slube he'd never met before. As he spoke, he continued to look around for anyone he recognized. Despite the strangeness of it, he decided to try and get some answers. Where is everyone? In hiding, I suppose. That was quite a big shock to the town. But you must have been brave enough to venture out into the aftermath, right? Professor Duth asked, still shaking Numer's hand. Shock? Aftermath? Brave? Me? Yes, see here? Duth motioned with his arm to a grassless crater slightly wider than a Slube next to them. "It's a crater," Numer stated, looking at it. "Did something crash?" No, something was taken away. This is where the crystal was," Duth explained. "Oh, that weird crystal thing has been here for so long no one knows where it's from?" "That's the one," Duth said. "If you'd like, I think I can explain some things if you come with me." Duth turned around and headed northwest. Despite his confusion, Numer followed to find some answers. I forgot to get a drink before that time, and I seem to have trouble pronouncing Duth's name. Duth. Z-E-T-H. How? Duth. And then people come on, I'm saying Duth, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Gonna read it back over again. A threat from above, a threat from below, and the only ones who know are nervous, careless, and, well, one is competent. The planet Mentop is on the verge of invasion. 3 Slubes, distant relatives to the Mana Slug, find that an intergalactic conqueror is after a crystal of immense power in their town. According to legend, the crystal is in place to seal an ancient demon underground, so when it shatters, a race begins. The 3 Slubes must rebuild the crystal before the demon seal is broken. The Space Invader isn't about to lose such a powerful artifact, though, and aims to stop their collectathon. Numer, the happenstance hero with a nervous disposition, Professor Duth, the well-meaning but careless inventor, and Cherry, the karate-tailed competent one. These 3 semi-heroes must overcome the Conqueror's obstacles if they are to save their planet from intergalactic invasion and demonic destruction. The debut novel of Duth, Olec, and perplexed narrator Warlyte, chronicling tales of the cloudy cuckoo cosmos, and the first of 2 novels in the Noddle Crystal series. Well, do you try pronouncing the name Duth? Well, at least when I'm reading, that's the one, Duth. The critics disagree. Definitely a novel. Not at all 1,000 raisins being shoved into your nose. So funny you'll choke on eggs. It happened to me once. Tastes like banana without the annoying vitamin B and potassium. Fiber still in paperback version. Duth. Okay, it's been half an hour. More so for when I started recording before this thing, but... Okay, the final 2.5 pages that I'm going to be reading. There's a lot more after that. There's like... there's like 160 pages I'm not reading here. Oh, I might read the... Yeah, well, I'll think about that. In a room empty of doors, windows, or furnishings huddled 7 Spleech around a radio receiver. The words of the Conqueror played out from it. How much of the fleet could be powered with this? The entire fleet, 5 times over. Upon hearing the power output, one of the Spleets shouted, "Did you hear that? Enough energy to power the fleet 5 times!" Flailing its tentacles in the air, it yelled, "That's it! We're done! Patooey! There's no way we can stop him now!" Another Spleech slapped some sense into it. "This is no time to give up." Addressing all of them, it proclaimed, "Listen! We joined together because we knew that the Conqueror had to be stopped one way or another. The only thing we can do is make sure that he doesn't get that crystal." "But how do we do that?" another asked. "We'll have to sabotage his operations." "But how do we do that?" the same one asked. "Are you going to contribute anything useful to this mission?" "Look," someone said one, adjusting its glasses. "It is very simple what we have to do." Back in the control center, a Spleech made an announcement. "The crystal is now halfway to the station." "Yes, the time has come. Soon this planet will bow down to me, and I, the Conqueror, will have the foothold in this sector needed to conquer the rest." He held up his tentacles in triumph. Obviously, he lived for this. Otherwise, his name would be the baker, or the radio show host, or the crash test dummy, or whatever other job occupation he might have. But no, he was the Conqueror, and Mintop was next on his to-do list. A monitor showed the location of the crystal between the planet and the space station. Constant updates on the status of the operation coming up. A Spleech operated the tractor beam controls to keep it stable. The Conqueror and some Spleech looked over a map of Mintop. Pointing to a set of islands, the Conqueror said, "These islands are fairly separated from the more populous continents. If we attack the islands first, we can set up a base and then obliterate the continental forces." "Won't the continental areas notice the fleet arriving?" asked Spleech. "I think you are overestimating the advancement of this planet. From what we have gathered, they won't even realize what's happening until our attack on them has begun. We'll already be on the planet and can take control of most of the seaways." Slowly, another Spleech entered the control room. It crept near the wall and repeatedly glanced back and forth. With the Conqueror's back turned, this Spleech made its move. It lunged for the Spleech at the tractor beam controls. With all the force a Spleech could muster, it shoved the Spleech off the stool to the floor. "Hey, what is that for?" yelled the Spleech. It shouted as the other one turned a dial to decrease the tractor beam's power. "What are you doing? That'll shut it off!" The Spleech climbed up and tried to twist the dial back. The rebel tried to push the other away with his tentacles. They slapped at each other, and soon their tentacles became tangled between themselves and the toggles and levers. Still, they vied for control over the tractor beam. Each one yelled bad insults at each other, although mostly they just yelled, "Get off!" a lot. The Conqueror turned to the scuffle and shouted, "What's going on over there?" Now many Spleech attacked the rebel. They finally pulled it away from the control panel and regained control. The crystal was still in the tractor beam. "Don't worry, sir, it's all under control," said the Spleech. At that moment, a door swung open. 3 Spleech carrying laser guns barged in and fired upon the Spleech at the tractor beam controls. "Death to all tyrants!" shouted a Spleech rebel with a robotic tentacle. "Yeah, we tire of tyrants," another added. Once a path was clear, they made a mad dash for the controls. They were within reach. The rebels yelped. They were grabbed by the Conqueror's long tentacles and pulled away. He held the 4 rebels each in one tentacle. "You thought you could rebel against the Great Conqueror?" shouted the Great Conqueror as he held them at eye level. "I thought you were just the Conqueror," a rebel said with all the cheek a creature without cheeks could muster. "Great or not, you have made a fatal mistake," the Conqueror told it. Every previous attempt to rebel against him had failed, and resulting public torture, it led to a stronger grip on the planet that saw the torture. But for a Spleech to try and rebel... "So, you're not actually great?" asked the rebel. "And then try to mock him?" The Conqueror tightened his grip on that rebel and threatened, "I would watch what you say, for there is nothing stopping me from squeezing the life out of you." He suspected there were more rebels and would need to interrogate these 4. However, one less captive would not matter. While this exchange was going on, one of the rebels freed his mechanical tentacle. The end of it opened and shot out a bomb. It exploded, blasting the control panel apart. "No!" cried the Conqueror. The computer smoked and fell silent, ceasing all activity. The Spleech began working furiously to get a status update on the crystal. "We're losing visual on the crystal, sir. Power signals decreasing. They're spreading out. Crystal gem entering Mintop atmosphere. Sir, it appears the crystal is breaking apart in the atmosphere." "What?" The screen before them showed dots on the map of Mintop. Each dot marked where the crystal landed after breaking up. "This rather multiplies the problem, then." "Sorry, Conqueror," said the cheeky rebel, "but your crystal is in another cat." The Conqueror cut it off by tightening his grip again. The Conqueror ordered in some guards. "Lock these rebels up. Interrogate them. Find out who else dares to go against the might of the Conqueror." He wanted to interrogate them himself, but he now had more pressing concerns. Turning to the speech of the computers, he said, "Find those crystals. This isn't over. I will have that crystal." Yeah, I did change the psychic. Actually, I didn't change the psychic radio thing so much as I mentioned earlier. Read earlier. The Spleech, their bodies were puny, but had 4 long tentacles. A line of small holes around the base of their necks were used for speaking. They're not psychic anymore. There's never any reason for it besides they don't have any mouths. Okay, I'm just reading the chat. That's no, I thought that was a silly Spleech or now squid. I would start singing a song, but I can't remember. Yeah. Where did it say the size of a? I know where it says the size of a Sooo, but it seems like you said that a lot later than I was expecting. A lot later than after I had read it, but yeah, oh, you were joking about the octopus laser gun? Oh, Marsman, I don't know what that is. Yeah, the crystal, actually, the size of a Slube is probably a bit big for what the crystal really is, but okay, that's what I'm going to be reading of the story. The rest of it's on Amazon.com and CreateSpace, and also available as an ebook. Okay, yeah. So Willy Chicken, you're the only person who doesn't know what this is here. Do you have any questions? Yoshi's my partner in this. When I don't have anything to say, I just take him on screen. Look at Yoshi, isn't it cute? Now I don't have to talk. Paste links in the chat. I do not have any links. I assume the chat or the broadcast will keep going if I probably should have just at least kept my blog open so I could paste links easily, but what? I appear to have messed up this page. Your writing skills seem to have what? Here we go. And for some reason, it's on sale 50 cents off. It's let's just say that they're doing a just released sale first novel debut. Da 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 da. Wow, that's weird. Some of the links in my blog got messed up, so I can't really send the, hasn't been linked, the Kindle version hasn't linked to this one yet, though. Of course I have. I have good friends to help me. I have right here. Also, thanks to Phil and Skipper. How do you say that? Is it like that? I assume it's like that. And Jarrett Mintz Cantu for looking at the early drafts and telling me I was stupid. I started writing this pretty early in 2010, I think, and then I sort of off and on wrote it. I think through the rest of the year, I sort of off and on wrote the first draft. Then, while I was going to college, I just sort of off and on revised it. And then, after I finished college, back in just this December, I finally got the final drafts done, looked over, and completed. So it only took me about 3.5 months, but not months, 3.5 years. But a lot of that time, like the first half of last year, I didn't work on it at all because I was busy with college. You're Phil in Skipper Plumthroat. Let's see, actually I have a document. Let's see, important days. Sunday, February 21st, 2010, began writing Slubes. Friday, August 6, 2010, finished writing Draft 1 of Slubes. Friday, December 31st, 2010, began revising Slubes. Sunday, April 7th, 2013, finished Slubes. Tuesday, June 4th, 2013, today, published Slubes. Well, considering all the time I spent not writing it. And yeah, Phil gave me a whole bunch of, like, told me where stuff could improve, and basically I have a document that lists the different stuff I need to revise when I revise my novels, so now I can fix stuff. And Mintz told me my grammar was horrible. Going to read some from the appendix, which, let's see if you can... Yeah. Oh, no. The plural of speech is just speech. Actually, I have that a lot for some reason. I should probably even... Well, no, it's actually... Yeah. I'm going to read from the appendix. Because why not? First, this Appendix A, which is species. The slube. Slubes are a species related to the banana slug with bright yellow skin, 2 big eyes resting on their heads, and snouts like 2 stacked baguettes. They have long bodies that end in tails that are difficult to distinguish from the torso. They live almost exclusively on islands in the southern hemisphere of Mintop and are largely ignored by most of the planet. Their average lifespan is about 80 years. First appears on page 3. Herf. Herfs are large saltwater fish with heads, fins, and scales akin to earth carp, and strong, sturdy backs and manes akin to earth horses. They are domesticated some thousands of years ago and ridden by people across the sea and used to ferry some boats. Their average lifespan is about 25 years. First appears on page 3. I'm going to type something so Willie Chicken can see it. This broadcast will, if things go well, be uploaded to YouTube. And now I'm holding the book upside down. 7 igap no serif Spleech. Spleech have tall, elongated heads with similarly elongated eyes. A hard flap of skin covers the back of their heads and most of the front, and a line of dots around the bases of their thin necks is used for speaking. Their torsos are very petite and radiates out to 4 tentacles. Their society was conquered by the Conqueror thousands of years ago, and now nearly all of them work under his command. Spleech never know their parents, but instead have a family unit consisting of 3 to 7 siblings. Their average lifespan can range from 30 to hundreds of years and beyond. First appears on page 7. Okay, that's the species that appear in this sampling. Appendix B, characters. Warlyte, the writer of this story. He doesn't always really know what's going on, but he still transcribes what happens. Duth Olec, our gracious host. How do I and Wally count as characters? Numer, this Slube moved to Noddle for a quiet life, but he finds far more trouble than he was expecting in the quaint village. Has a nervous disposition and believes himself to be a coward, though cowardice can exist purely through belief. 23 years old. First appears on page 3. Oh, well, that I don't know what I am supposed to make out of what Phil just said. Cherry, with more gusto for life than almost any Slube, Cherry looks for interest in all parts of life. She's always active, has taken karate classes, and looks for more excitement than Noddle has to offer. She's quick to action, but doesn't always look where she leaps. 23 years old. First appears on page 4. Mr. Thimble, unnamed. This Slube-sized thimble wearing a pewter top hat pops up in numerous non-tentacle dreams. First appears on page 4. Page. This Slube's a friend of Cherry's. She enjoys the relaxed life of Noddle, but is also excited by modern conveniences in a nearby city. 23 years old. First appears on page 6. Gurn, another friend of Cherry's. This Slube is down to earth, but she tends to be on a different wavelength from everyone else. 23 years old. First appears on page 6. The Conqueror, an intergalactic tyrant who travels the cosmos and conquers worlds. He appears to be some variant of or mutant of a Spleech, but no one knows for sure. Calculating and scheming, he has a decent mix of megalomania and belief in his own qualifications for rule. That is, he's really smart. 5,134 years old. First appears on page 7. Executive Spleech in charge of keeping things orderly. An efficient though meek Spleech who is most comfortable taking orders. Practically raised by Whoa. I almost gave a spoiler name. Oh. Wow. I found a well, I don't know if it counts as a mistake, but practically raised by the Conqueror and has worked for him all his life. 224 years old. First appears on page 8. That's kind of embarrassing, but not a huge problem. It's just I wrote this appendix so that people wouldn't have to go online to look for stuff they may have forgotten about the story and risk spoiling themselves. And I put a spoiler right in the appendix. I guess it's not a huge spoiler, but it's something I always thought as one. Professor Zeth. Excuse me. A Slube with a penchant for mechanics. Though he majored in physics at his university, he's always been more interested in building things. Came to Noddle to study a crystal that gives off high energy readings. Somewhat scatterbrained and seems to lack common sense. Regardless, he always has a chipper attitude. 32 years old. First appears on page 9. Flynn, a Spleech with an anxiety disorder. One of the Spleech to rebel against the Conqueror. Sibling to Probo and Saron. 263 years old. First appears on page 10. Vado, an outspoken, high-spirited Spleech who never backs down. One of the Spleech to rebel against the Conqueror. Sibling to Jokey Spleech and Ardway. 334 years old. First appears on page 10. Jokey Spleech, unnamed. a prankster who enjoys jokes and is always lighthearted. One of the speech to rebel against the conqueror, sibling to Vado and Ardway, 334 years old, first appears on page 10. Mikolos, unnamed, a bold speech with nothing to lose, helping a rebellion against a conqueror, lost a tentacle in a failed rebellion, 515 years old, first appears on page 10. Probo, a scientifically adept, I think that's how you spell adept, speech full of moral duty, one of the speech to rebel against the conqueror, sibling to Flynn and Saran, 263 years old, neuter, which is also a mistake because I left that in there. Ha 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 ha. First appears on page 10. Ardway, unnamed, one of the speech to rebel against the conqueror, sibling to Vado and Joki speech, 334 years old, first appears on page 10. Saran, unnamed, one of the speech to rebel against the conqueror, sibling to Flynn and Probo, 263 years old, first appears on page 10. And finally, getting worn out. Appendix C of locations. Mintop, second planet of its planetary system. Mintop is one of 3 inhabited planets and closest of the 3 to their sun. The planet is about 80% water and fairly tropical throughout. It is also the least advanced of the 3 and is often the third wheel in matters among them. Hackney, an island in the Naliaxin Ocean. I wrote this stuff and I can't pronounce it. The island is split into west and east halves by a river in the middle. On the west half is a western peninsula on which is one of 2 primary settlements, Novel, a small village inhabited exclusively by Slubes. The west half also has a mostly extinct volcano, Mount Dynamo. On the east half is Jelligo City, a much bigger settlement inhabited by several different species, and a third of the island is covered by the Reptibia rainforest. The island is also notable for having the largest known concentration of species on Mintop. Yeah, I'm actually thinking I might just wait until I get 5 mistakes, and if I get, the mistake you made is kind of a big one. These aren't too big. If I get 5 mistakes, I'll make a second edition. But otherwise, we're all fallible humans. The last thing I'm going to read from this is the about some authors, so you can get to know me, which I probably should have started with, so you could get to know me from the beginning. But, well, then again, only people there who were there at the time already knew me. Well, about some authors. Duth Olec was born in the highly adequate state of Indiana in the semi-United States of America. He lived in a liberal pit in the state, which pretty much shaped his views, and received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Indiana University that is now used as a napkin. Then disaster struck, and he was never heard from again. Warlyte is the writer of these events. Hired by Duth Olec, he watches these events transpire and transcribes a record of them for future generations or present generations, or at least someone. He lives a secluded life writing these things down, and was absolutely, in no way whatsoever, kidnapped to do this. Jeremy Runyon is some loser who cares about him. Contact information is information you can use to contact someone. In this case, you can contact me at the email. Oh, that's also outdated, but that's because I just now updated it today. Well, I'm going to count that as a mistake anyway. In this case, you can contact me at the email dutholec@gmail.com, and on Twitter via @dutholec. You can also get exclusive information and stories, learn about the future of the Cloudy Cuckoo Cosmos, and hear from me at this website that I'm going to paste there. What? No, you're contradictory with your author bio, which, now that I've kind of did a gap there, so now it's confusing. But whatever. that's about all there is for me to read from this. We didn't get any French people, Phil, or whatever, Italian, I don't know. Unless, Willie Chicken is French, would be kind of really coincidental. Well, yeah, but, you know, that's why I said 5. If there's 5, then that seems something. I mean, shrug. Maybe I would just call it edition 1.1, because, Minecraft, I don't know what, developers have a system. I can't really rest them on my leg because you can't see my leg. Yeah, he's kind of just in the corner there. And then the rest of this broadcast will just be me playing with Yoshi. Yep, that was an hour. So, I suppose that's about it. I'm going to wait until the actual hour gets here, so I'll just read the information at the beginning. This book brought to you by the letter A, with all printing and shipping and some handling fulfilled by CreateSpace. All rights reserved. All left reserved. No part of this book may be used or reproduced in any manner without written permission except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical articles and reviews. I don't actually know what that means. Oh, I just remembered. I was going to also announce the winners of a raffle I had, which I think I was supposed to wait until later to decide, but only one person showed up, and so sorry, Willie Chicken, you can't enter a raffle. But yeah, the winners of the raffle: Brandon Davis and Peanut Butter. I mean Togiosh, or however you say his name, pronounce it. Also known as your friend PB, which he went to each supper, didn't he? So, yeah, everybody who won isn't here apparently. I wonder, they never showed up. They don't. But yeah. This is a work of fiction. Probably. Any resemblance to actual events, locales, organizations, or persons, living or dead, and yes, that includes both living and dead events, is probably a coincidence. Who can really say for sure? Oh, except for you, the person reading this. I am totally mocking you. And of course, the time that I'm reading this, I'm mocking myself, which I'm always doing. With thanks to my parents for putting up with me for more than 20 years and beyond. Also thanks to Phil and Skipper and Jarrett Mintz-Cantu for looking at the early drafts and telling me I was stupid. Also as well, thanks to Eli Bach for drawing the cover art as a friend and not showing up at the stream. I don't really have any reason to do any. I mean, when I write my second novel, which will be definitely at least in the next year, I'll have a stream. But other than that, I don't have much to stream. I mean, I always could just read more of the novel. Maybe when I write a short story, which is probably coming in this 2013. Wouldn't be as long, but it's still. I mean, I don't use. This is pretty much the first stream I've ever done that wasn't video games. I used to do a few video game streams, but Book 2, in the coming week, maybe, I think I'm going to finish some stuff that well, Book 2 is written. The first draft is written. and I have some stuff that I forgot to add during the first draft that I'm going to add in. Still need to write in. Then I want to look through the story and make sure everything is consistent. The earlier version of this book had an inconsistency in it. Once that's done with, I'm going to consider draft 2 finished. But I could stream video games, but I don't really have the time anymore. I mean, I kind of do have the time because I don't have a job. But after I finish draft 2 of my second novel, I'm going to be looking for a job, so... But how the idea of Slubes originated? Video games. Yeah, back in the day, I, like everyone else who was born in the 90s, and maybe early or late 80s, wanted to make video games for a living. I sort of came up with a idea that was kind of derivative on it was kind of derivative on Echo the Dolphin, actually. But then I came up with Slubes. This sort of doodling, and hey, a slube, I like that design, let's just keep going with it. So I came up with these ideas for a video game. Realized that actually I prefer writing, which is thanks to Phil and the other people that I will refer to as the YB, and that is all I can really I can refer them as TTD, but YB's better, so yeah. But yeah, I realized that writing was my real calling, so I just sort of turned it into a novel. So the idea came from doodles. I actually have the doodles right below my webcam, but if I had to, I'd have to eat the webcam to get to them, so... Anyway, I could, if I had a, yeah, if I had a good, well, if I had a good computer, I would probably stream them. I usually had trouble streaming games because I have a bad computer. Not bad, but old, and it's a laptop. But I could always try it. Anyhow's it. It'd have to be 3-player or Phil. Well, yeah, 3-player. One person gets the wheel. Of course, since most games are 4-player, I'd have to just add a Toad, I guess. No, wait. Waluigi would be the 4th player. Yeah. Well, what do you think? Should we pack it up? I will now wait for a minute for... Sometimes. Yeah, the transpired's kind of... Let's see. I'm gonna read from near the end of the book for some reason. Unless I took that out. Oh, there it is. Let's see, this is in the middle of being attacked. Wait, why don't you have any rear view mirrors? I think the transpide is still in a beta phase, or maybe alpha. Anyway. Yeah, he kind of is kind of useless. Well, he built the beam mallet. I don't remember what it's called. Hammer mallet beam mallet. The thing Numer uses, a weapon, a hammer, it's a mallet. It's what is it called? Mallet Blaster. So he's kind of he's the character that appears in the between levels with the you can get to the options and or just start the level. Clearly the new thing will be books being made into video games instead of being made into movies, so I mean, hey, this was technically originally, the story originally was made for a video game, which I tend to worry can be seen. But anyway, I think that's about it. I've been recording for an hour and 15 minutes, which that includes pre-starting. Books. No proper. I have a ad block for this laptop's Firefox. Anyway, I started recording the broadcast, so let me know if there's an increase in lag. Get AdBlock Plus. I don't know if that's like an advanced version of AdBlock or what, but it's a stop sign. It says ABP. Let's see, what do I got anyway? At the moment, I appear to just be messing around. I am peddling snake beads, apparently. It's the new form of snake oil. That was... does like the page shift to the point where something gets cut off? I mean, really, at the most, you just need the first, well, maybe it'd be kind of difficult if only the first post was shown, because then if a lot of people suddenly start posting, which I doubt that's going to happen, see here. Yeah, it kinda does. Well, I'm sure I'll make it work, or I might not, but... Three viewers. I wonder if... I would guess the third one is phone out, but... See what? PB. Punbun. Yoshi friend PB. Tokiyosh. Or... How do you pronounce that anyway? I just always... Togayosh, but that's kind of like Toga. Should I be louder? Because it's not technically it is broadcasting, but it's the pre-game show, so I don't particularly care how loud I'm being, but when the post-game, pre-game... Yeah. Well, it's not a perfect solution. If what was I saying? Right. If I had actually, if I had a working desktop computer, I could probably record, have the thing record on that. And then I would actually be able to record on a decent computer, but we don't have a decent computer. And then I would just record the chat on the laptop. When I'm talking loud, I forget what I'm saying because I'm thinking talk loud. But yeah, if I had another computer, I could probably actually record the chat myself. I just don't really want to risk making it laggy or messing it up or something. Also, I might not even need to record it because I might be able to just copy and paste the whole chat and put it in myself. But you know, you never know, just in case. I also need to look at the camera instead of the computer. Two minutes. What's a terrible pain? Thinking to talk loud? Presentation! Hi, I'm Duth, and I'm here to talk to you about the challenges of being a cloud wizard, I guess. Well, one of the designs that Koi made for me is a cloud wizard, puppet cloud wizard, I guess. I just moved the laptop so that I can look at the laptop and the camera a bit easier. Or I can just look at the fly swatter and reflect through the floor there. Go get ad blocker! Ad blocker! Wow, Ustream is confused, I think. Okay. I'm going to start in 1 minute. Which, by the time I actually start, you guys will be getting that message. Go figure. Who's that? No time to answer my question because it's time to start.